Yo, what's up? So I've been haunted by this exact video, this little video. Video games aren't fun anymore. And a new, fresh video with this thumbnail, no, it's no longer grayscale, has showed up on my timeline called Video Games Are Fun, actually, by Stryxo. Let's give it a watch.
If you're subscribed to this channel, you've probably seen this video.
Not subscribed, but it was very popular. So yes, I am familiar that it exists. Never watched it because I didn't agree with the statement that video games aren't fun anymore. I think it's more of a mental thing, or maybe you're not playing the right kind of games. That's what I thought at the time.
To give you a bit of a TLDW, I made this video to talk about a time where I felt burnt out playing video games in general, and eventually learned that through branching out and taking chances on games I never would have tried before, I was just burnt out playing the same genres of games over and over again. The video ended on a happy note, with a promise for me to branch out even further with games on my channel.
So it's called Video Games Aren't Fun Anymore, but it's actually more of a games hit differently when you are 12. Exactly. Look at all these fucking I've been haunted by all of these exact thumbnails on my YouTube timeline.
Not everyone
that's a fucking trip down memory lane.
If you look at the title and thumbnail and some of my other negative videos, you might get the idea that I'm a pretty negative guy generally. So this video seeks to fix that. Video games are...
I mean, look, yeah. Even as he said at the end of his video, the conclusion is that they are fun. You're just not playing, like you're just limiting your own self, and you know, maybe if you're not having fun gaming, there's some interpersonal shit you gotta fix before. Maybe it's not the problem with the games themselves.
Fun, actually, and I think I should take a bit of time to actually show that.
And just negative clickbait goes harder. Come on, let's be honest.
Games by talking about a couple games I've enjoyed recently. Foundationally, the games I enjoyed playing the most before I became burnt out on them were action-adventure FPS games. I love the big dumb
never played the style of games. Rather, I only played them a bit on the Xbox 360, but I was like infant age pretty much, so I have no idea what. Like, you know, I don't recall any of it.
Or Call of Duty or Titanfall 2. Because of that, a great place for me to start was checking out more action-adventure games. Just switching to third.
Played a bit of Borderlands recently. That didn't, I didn't enjoy that much though. I don't know if that counts as the same category. I think it kind of does, but you know.
Person. Metal Gear Rising: Revengeance seems like something that's right up my alley, all things considered. I was hesitant to touch it at first because I felt like it was a game that needed an incredible amount of time to sink into and understand the mechanics so you can have the most fun with it. What I mean by that is, well, let's take the new God of War, for example. This game is incredible, which shouldn't be much of a surprise. Who could have possibly guessed? What this game also is.
I'll be honest, I didn't enjoy it as much as God of War 3. Like, I just enjoyed God of War 3 more than, not Ragnarok, but the other one, just the fourth version that was just called God of War.
Is a big budget.
Largely not because of the story. I think the story in this goes way harder and all that. I'm a sucker for, like, top-down action combat, and the game, like, you know, like third-person perspective. And God of War 3 nailed that so much harder than this one. I just realized we're not watching in 1080p. Let's boot up the bitrate a bit.
AAA PlayStation.
Don't think it'll make much of a difference, you know.
It's accessible. The combat, while fun, engaging, and satisfying to a degree, is kind of shallow. The combos you can string together with the axe or the blades are cool and cinematic.
That's exactly what holy shit, man. This man actually, okay, let's go back again because I want him to reaffirm what I just said to feel smart.
PlayStation story experience. It's accessible. The combat, while fun, engaging, and satisfying to a degree, is kind of shallow. The combos you can string together with the axe or the blades
the previous
are cool
game
and
got it better,
but you don't really get rewarded for being cool or
okay, but unlocking these things, not gonna lie, that reignited the fucking spark for this game. My biggest turn off with this game was the fucking Leviathan axe. I was so sad when I found out that was the weapon. Can you imagine my fucking reaction to unlocking it for the first time? I actually stood up, ran up to the PS, took a fucking close-up photo so you can't tell what it was, and sent the screenshot to everyone. That shit was crazy.
Cinematic with how you play. This lack of depth shows up in a lot of the loot you find as well. A lot of the armor or little talismans you find have a bunch of different stats that can affect your own wide variety of stats. This screen looks complicated and like it would require a lot of time to get used to, but being honest...
But it is basic as shit, and it's like, okay, I mean, do you want being stronger? Just skill strength. Or do you spells? Just go runic, you know what I mean? Like, do you spam a lot of spells? Just equip shit that reduces your cooldowns. Like, it is elementary as fuck, and by spells I mean, like, you know, magic deep effects on your weapons.
You quickly learn in the game that the only thing that matters is this number here. As long as the enemy numbers aren't like 3 higher, you're fine. And that carries over to your combat as well. As long as whatever you're doing is killing enemies, you're doing great. There's no real need to worry about the combos you're throwing out or using specific abilities you spend.
Yeah, like sometimes you have to play play harder and press buttons faster and, you know, think strategically on the spot if the fight is really difficult. But, like, you know, 10 attempts later, you'll get it. And you just, yeah.
skill points on. Metal Gear Rising is in this middle place where it took me like a little bit to get into the game and properly enjoy the combat, but once I did, oh my God, this game is big action incarnate, and playing it was such an amazing experience. The feeling of chopping up anything I want into a gorgillion tiny little pieces is incomparable to anything else I've done in a game. Devil May Cry 5 is on the end of the spectrum.
Oh, okay. I actually downloaded DMC like 2 days ago. I was looking forward to playing it, but then I'm like, you know what? Fuck gaming, I'm gonna make a video instead.
Where it takes the most amount of time and effort to learn and get used to the mechanics, but when I finally learned it, it's like God himself came down and...
Please don't spoil, I wanna play... Okay, whatever.
Controller. This game is addictive because
look at the wings! I can't wait to play this shit. Oh my God, I cannot wait.
This game is addictive because each enemy encounter is a new chance to be told I'm doing smokin' sexy style in a game. Unfortunately, it took 3 playthroughs for me to actually finish the game. 3rd time's the charm, and even though I was still hesitant to sink the time into the game needed to learn my combos across 3, technically 4 characters, it was worth it, and I'm so glad I took the chance. Games that
Holy shit, the fighting in this game looks fucking bad.
4 characters.
Like good, as in like in the best way possible. Look at the weapon enemy designs.
So glad I took the chance. Games that excelled.
Yo, what? How have I not played this?
To explore them because I'm kind of incredibly stupid. The Last of Us left me nearly in tears, even though I unfortunately knew a few big spoilers going in. Getting into
same here.
Connect with Ellie and Joel and going on a journey with these characters, it comes to a point where even though Joel is choosing to objectively do something incredibly selfish in spite of the benefits it might have for humanity as a whole, like, I don't know, perhaps inventing an effective resistance to the cordyceps virus for all of humanity, I still support Joel because I actually care about Ellie. I developed a liking for these characters because of their personalities and interactions throughout the whole game. It's to the point that these characters feel like they could hop out of the screen at any moment and hold a conversation. God of War Ragnarok got me to buy a PS5. I was so excited to know where the story went after playing through the first 4th game that I just needed to know. Once again, I'm left nearly crying towards the end, reconciling with Freya.
Hey, no, I don't want to God of War Ragnarok spoilers, please. Alright, I'm gonna...
and Atreus connect with each other, more of Sindri and Brock, and getting to know all the new antagonists introduced throughout the game. Everyone in this game eventually lets go or is forced to let go of something important to them.
Alright, no, that's not a major
spoiler.
spoiler.
My favorite story game, so far at least, has to be God of War 2018 though. Never before this had I been given a plot twist in a game that so incredibly changes the entire context of every single event throughout the story. I mean, the game sucked me in and immersed me in the world almost
I think I wasn't paying attention much to the story because I was just focused on the combat. This video actually made me want to replay the game just to give the story a second chance.
From the main menu, you're instantly put in the
middle. A chance at all. I'd say I didn't give it a proper shot first time around watching it.
Between Atreus and Kratos and the tension
I was just bored walking around here. Like this shit right here, I was bored out of my fucking asshole.
Between them is palpable. But reaching the end,
But that's not my fault. I don't want to say my fault, but that's not the intended experience.
Tension transforms into a deep bond between father and son, going so far as to make Kratos of all people not only tell a good story, but to even attempt a joke for his son.
He should save. Sure. I'll look for it as soon as you show me how.
Yes, he did say that. That was the story.
I've talked about it a few times on my channel before, but I'm a big fan of top-down simulation strategy games. I've played a lot of SimCity and City Skylines over the years. They're both calming, laid-back games focused on managing a city and its resources, so I was naturally hesitant to take that experience into a setting with actual stakes. Age of Empires 2 is so much more fun than I ever could have imagined, even though I get absolutely pub-stomped every single time I play it. It's the first real-time strategy game I took a chance on, mostly because I thought it ruined the fun and calming aspects I enjoyed from building my cities, but those same aspects turn into the reasons
I've never played RTS games for that exact reason. I'm like, man, I love the idea of slowly building up like a whole empire and like, you know, getting automation going and like, you know, at the start food and water is important. Later on, you gotta start managing corpses and shit and like you gotta get new shitters and oh wow, you look at that, the lake is running out. We gotta move and this. Okay. Nah, I don't think RTS games are for me. But then again, that's what he was thinking, and he says he had a ton of fun playing them. So, you know, maybe I should give him a shot.
So much. Unlocking more land to build in on City Skylines as a reward for building up a big population becomes a risky gamble in Age of Empires 2. On one hand, I could come across more resources that I need if my deposits are running out, but on the other hand, I could easily reveal my enemy and thus reveal my location to him as well. Saving up my money to spend on cool parks or buildings or expansion of my city for reasons that are aesthetically satisfying turn into expanding my military might and looking upon my massive army for satisfaction. My experience
Yeah.
recontextualized gathering resources in games like City Skylines in a way that makes me excited to experience more of the genre, and also makes me really want a co-op mode for City Skylines. Good God. I know I
Yeah, no, I personally prefer playing games like these on my own time, because, okay, no, it would be fucking banging if you could run into another person, like, in like a survival, like a game of this style, right, where you're like in a world and you have to build up a colony or whatever, but where you don't have to be enemies. You can also team up with a random person, and you don't know where your co-op friend is, right? And you can like go give each other coordinates and find each other, or alternatively, you can like keep it hidden and go brawl it out. That would actually go so hard.
A lot of games, but I think after hammering the point in, you guys get that I was hesitant to try out these new gaming experiences because of a lot of preconceived notions that ended up not mattering. You don't need me to sit here and talk about Tunic or Deep Rock.
To be honest, yeah, let's put it this way. If this style of games wasn't, like, if a style of game isn't fun because it like doesn't make sense, people wouldn't be playing it, you know what I mean? It's just a different kind of fun from what like I come to expect. For example, let's look at Dota. You spend the whole fucking game farming up, you know, building yourself items and all that, to eventually, like, at the end of the game, that all shit disappears and you have to go again. So, like, you'd think, well, why would I want to play a game if there's no long-term progression? No, everybody thinks that. You know, there's a bunch of people who play shooter games and FPS shit. It's just, there is a subcategory of people like me from a few years ago that, like, I just don't like the idea of, like, instant-based progression. But Dota was always the exception for me. I don't know why. It's probably because I played it as a kid. But coming back to it now, I realize I never disliked the category. I just don't like the idea. But then in actual practice, it doesn't feel like you're losing shit when you start out the next game. It just feels like you played a game and it's time to play the next one. And maybe you have a new strat to try out. You know what I mean?
Galactic or the...
Like, the progression you make is mental. You either get, you know, the MMR points, or you get one more game to your account so that you can fucking brag to your non-existent friends. Shit.
Mirror's Edge games or Guilty Gear Strive, although I might talk about them on their own in the future. Time that needs to be invested in learning, a lack of an attention span, or ruining PvE with PvP aspects, none of it ended up mattering after I actually sat down and played the game. Burnout, especially related to games, is in
there's games that don't get into because I have ideas of what I won't like about them. But there's nothing stopping me from giving it a shot except for like a little price tag. But, you know, like, if it's a game that costs $15, am I happy to spend $15 less within, like, well, let's say a month? Because realistically, I don't play new games that often. Like, once a month sounds reasonable, maybe once every couple weeks at most. But really, I don't get games that often. At a rate like that, I could easily spend $15 a month and try new games out. And if I don't like them, it is what it is. You know what I mean?
Incredibly complicated topic to tackle. Well, this video originally began as a way to clear the air for people who might.
To be fair, games are becoming expensive as shit right now. But you know, put on your pirate hats and go arr.
Have a negative outlook on games after my previous. I'm once again sitting here recommending that if you feel like you're beginning to be bored of video games, branch out. You might have preconceived ideas of a genre or a franchise that keeps you from actually sitting down.
I agree, even though I probably will do a horrible job applying it. But you know what? At least I understand his point, and I do believe that would be true. Oh, almost. Okay, yeah.
Playing, even if you do want to. I was the same way with the final...
Don't want to reiterate my point 12 times in a row. He already made it anyways.
Fantasy VII Remake, thinking that if I picked it up, I'd have to continuously play it until it's done, or I'm going to forget everything. And that was kind of true, but it's the year 2023. Recap videos exist. Regardless, my issues surrounding my expectations for a genre ended up not being an issue, and I'm sure yours will turn out the same.
That is the exact... Okay, to be fair, I think watching the Risk of Rain footage made me realize that, if this is Risk of Rain, right? I'm not tripping. Made me realize that there is actually a reason I have this idea of not liking to just lose my progress, and that is that I cannot get into roguelikes. I've tried a few of them. I tried Isaac, I tried Hades, and something else some shit-ass mobile game that I had on my phone when I was bored. Actually, a tablet, but it doesn't matter. And all of them, the feeling of losing progression, even though Hades did have a sense of permanent progression, and Isaac does definitely have unlocking characters and all that, but I just couldn't get into any of those games because I just didn't like the idea of losing shit at the end of every run, even though, you know, there are games I play that do have you do that, and I don't care. So maybe it's just me not liking this specific style of game, not necessarily... Yeah. Okay. I'm getting there. Look, I'm coming to my own conclusion. If you don't like something about a game, it might not be the thing that you think you don't like. maybe the reason I don't like the game is because I just don't like the game. And other games that have a similar type of thing in them won't necessarily feel the same about, you know what I mean? Probably
and
not.
hey, you know what? You might be right. You don't enjoy RTS games or JRPGs or
yeah, exactly.
dungeon
You might be right, but you might be wrong. And there's nothing wrong with giving it a shot, especially if it could slap on the pirate hat. Well, that depends on where you live. You know, if you're in Singapore, piracy is pretty punishable, I hear, but
and that's okay. But you tried. You took a chance on a game, and the more you do that, the more likely you'll be able to find something you find fun.
exactly.
Oh yeah, and I also played Elden Ring. That was my favorite game last year.
I played Elden Ring. It was really difficult, and I would play it, but I didn't have the time at the time, and I also needed PC space, so I ended up having to delete it. Skill issue, or skill, what? I meant unlucky. Yeah, we'll get it eventually. That was a nice video. Let's give it a like real quick. Let's read a few comments. Let's see. Video games suck. Have you ever tried playing good games? Video games are good again. Classic art. Yeah, would agree. Stryxo. His links are in the description. Just like click the fucking expand. All that. Self-blogs are cringe, but you know, if you do want to help me with the YouTube stuff, go do the YouTube things like blah blah blah. Okay, bye. I'm gonna do the outro now, but they are a bit loud, so if you don't want to listen to the really loud outros, click on these two videos that are showing up right here before I do the outro, so because then you won't get ear raped. Okay, bye.